Eden Hill, Stockbridge, Massachusetts, March the 19th, 1987. Preface. Original preface to the Polish edition, 1981. In presenting this edition of the Diary of Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska, I am fully aware that I am introducing a document of Catholic mysticism of exceptional worth, not only for the Church in Poland, but also for the Universal Church. This publication is the critical edition, and thus reliable. It is the work of the postulator of Sister Faustina, under the direction of the authority of the Archdiocese of Krakow. The diary, whose object is devotion to the Divine Mercy, has acquired tremendous interest lately for two reasons. Firstly, the Sacred Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, in its revision more than 2 years ago, 1978, withdrew the censures and reservations advanced earlier by the Holy See in relation to the writings of Sister Faustina. The withdrawal of the notification caused the devotion to the Divine Mercy, as presented in the diary, to grow in renewed vitality on all the continents, as is evidenced by the numerous testimonies received by the postulator and the congregation of which Sister Faustina was a member. Secondly, the recent encyclical of Pope John Paul II, Dives in Misericordia, happily fixed the attention of the Church, and even of the secular world, on this most wonderful attribute of God and extraordinary aspect of the economy of salvation, which is the Divine Mercy. A comprehensive study in order to indicate the affinity of ideas found in the Diary of Saint Maria Faustina and this encyclical, not to mention their probably interdependence, would be most welcome. These salient points certainly are numerous, for they draw their inspiration from the same source, namely, from the revelation of God and the teaching of Christ. Furthermore, they come from the same spiritual environment, from Krakow, the city which, as far as I know, possesses the oldest church dedicated to the honor of the Divine Mercy. It is likewise necessary to stress that it was Karol Cardinal Wojtyla, the Archbishop of Krakow at that time, who made efforts to begin the process of beatification of Sister Faustina Kowalska and did inaugurate that process. In this light, the Diary of Saint Maria Faustina took on exceptional meaning for Catholic spirituality, and that is why it was fitting to prepare a credible edition, in order to prevent the distortion of the text by persons who perhaps are acting in good faith, but who are not adequately prepared for such work. Thus, publications containing differences and even contradictions, such as took place with the spiritual diary of St. Thayers of the Child Jesus, the story of a soul, can be avoided. The reader, after just a superficial skimming of the diary, may be struck by the simplicity of the language and even by the spelling and stylistic errors, but he should not forget that the author of the diary had but a limited elementary education. The theology alone which is found in the diary awakens in the reader a conviction of its uniqueness, and if one considers the contrast between Saint Faustina's education and the loftiness of her theology, the contrast alone indicates the special influence of divine grace. I would like to mention here my meeting with a well-known contemporary mystic, Sister Speranza, who in Chilevalenza, not far from Todi, Italy, founded the sanctuary of the Most Merciful Love, the site of numerous pilgrimages. I asked Sister Speranza whether she had heard of the writings of Sister Faustina and what she thought of them. She answered me with simplicity, "The writings contain a wonderful teaching, but reading them one must remember that God speaks to philosophers in the language of philosophers and to simple souls in the language of simple ones, and only to these last does he reveal truths hidden from the wise and prudent of this world." To conclude this preface, permit me to mention yet one more personal recollection from the year 1952, when for the first time I took part in a solemn beatification ceremony in St. Peter's Basilica. After the festivity, I was asked by some person who also participated, who exactly was this blessed one? The question embarrassed me very much, because at the moment I could not recall who those blessed were, although I knew full well that the real purpose of the beatification is to present to the people of God a model to consider and imitate in their lives. Among the candidates for beatification and canonization, Poland has presently two persons familiar to the whole world which knows who they are, what they accomplished in their lifetime, and what sort of message their lives proclaim. They are blessed now Saint Maximilian Kolbe, the martyr of love, Ansis to now Saint Faustina Kowalska, the Apostle of the Divine Mercy. Rome, December the 20th, 1980. Plus Andrew M. Disca, titular Archbishop of 10.